Everyone, Phi Farley here. Week 2 college football action coming at you. I have got 5 picks I'm going to break down for you in just 1 second. Our main question in week 2 is perception versus reality. That's the key to all sports betting, is perception versus reality. If you can hone in on the reality versus the perception, then you can find a lot of value in lines. Not every line is set to be exactly what the game will end at. A lot of them are set to the perception of the bettor. So our job is to be on the sharp side, be on the side of which we can understand a little bit better what the reality is versus the perception, so it changes that perception. Previous results is probably the biggest one. Hype and rankings can change perception greatly. So we want to find spots that exploit perception and key in on what the reality actually is on those teams, especially early in college football. So here we are, week 2. I got some games I'm going to highlight for you. Like I said, I got 5 games. I'm going to highlight those for you and see if we can exploit some of that reality versus the perception that we got in week 1. All right, so first, before I get into that, let me say thank you to subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you don't know who I am, check it out. I have over a couple hundred videos on baseball all season long. Have bet on baseball. I think I have 250 or so videos out there. Every single day I put out a video for baseball picks, free baseball picks. Follow that. We're up over $3,500 there and $100 bets. All right. Also have NFL picks out there. Check that out as well. Now let's get on to college football. All right. First game I want to go to is a great perception versus reality type play. We have Liberty, who has been perceived to be a bottom dweller. First time as a FBS school. They are independent. They're not in a conference. And they are going to be playing against Army. Now, Liberty is returning 18 starters. 10 offensive starters, including their quarterback. Meanwhile, Army is only bringing back 3 offensive starters, not including a quarterback either. Their main flaw is that they can't defend the pass. Duke threw for, I want to say, 197 yards, only 4 incompletions, 13 of 17 against them. I expect Liberty to exploit the defense of Army, who can't defend the pass. Liberty against Old Dominion threw for 345 yards. They threw the ball 34 times. I expect them to throw the ball against Army early and often, and I look for them to cover the 8-point spread against the Knights. So give me Liberty +8 in that early game. Also, just one thing to note, we are getting big action sharp-wise on Liberty. 57% of the tickets on Army, 64% of the money is over on Liberty. Shows you perception versus reality. All right, let's get to the second game I got for you, which is going to be Charlotte. I love this spot. All right, so here we have Appalachian State, which is they're a really, really good small team. They were known for their win against Michigan, their upset win 11 years ago. Little did people know back when that happened, Appalachian State was actually the better team. Michigan was in its poor years before Harbaugh, and Appalachian State went on to win the FCS championship that year. They've now gone on to be an FBS school, and they're at the top of their division. That said, we're in a great spot. They took Penn State to the very end. Thought we might get another glimpse at an upset against that Big Ten school. However, they come up short, and now they got to travel to Charlotte. And Charlotte is nothing worth any better putting their money on who doesn't know anything about this game. However, Charlotte has 18 returning starters. They do have a lot on the line with this coach. This is a great spot for them. Getting Appalachian State coming from Penn State now down to Charlotte. We're seeing a lot of sharp money over on the Charlotte side. Opened up at a -14, is now down to 13.5. Appalachian State, one last note, is returning only 11 starters. I'll be taking Charlotte plus the 13.5 at this point. All right. I mean, at this point as in, that's where the line's at, 13.5. All right. Next game I have is going to be FAU. Okay, I really like this spot for FAU. FAU goes to Oklahoma and gets absolutely clobbered. All right, then we have Air Force, plays a FCS school, Stony Brook, wins 38-0. Now these two teams are coming together. FAU could legitimately run the table for the rest of the season. They were projected by Sportsbook Nation to to win this game by 21. What was it? 21.4 points was their projected win by this game. Then week 1 happens. What's changed? They didn't lose their quarterback. They're still the same coaches. Coming into this week, Florida Atlantic as an 8-point favorite here, moved up to a 9-point favorite. We should have an absolute domination by Florida Atlantic and Lane Kiffin's teams. High-powered offense, 10 returning starters on defense. This should be an absolute blowout for Florida Atlantic, getting back to the winning ways. I'm taking the -9. 65% of the money's over on Florida Atlantic. 58% of the tickets over on Air Force. Perception versus reality. Give me Florida Atlantic. All right. I got 2 last games for you. We're going big. All right, we're going to the bigger games. Arizona State at home. Big Ten teams have not won in Tempe. I think it's in over 7 years. I like Arizona State in this spot. I'm taking Arizona State plus the 5. The 5 is the dangerous number in college football. If you get a home dog at plus 5, always take them. I'm taking, well, that's not always true, but just a rule in sports betting to take those. I'm taking Arizona State plus the 5. I think we have a field goal game here, so I'm not going to sweat it. I'll take the field goal, win or lose either way. I'm taking the field goal. Give me plus 5, and we'll win either way. So I'll take Arizona State behind Herm Edwards and his new coordinators and the new culture going on down in the Pac-12, Arizona State. So I'll take them over Michigan State. Anyway, give me the plus 5 so I can feel good about myself as well. Last game. Bama, Arkansas State. This is kind of interesting because I first leaned on the under, and then I looked at Arkansas State and what they can do on offense. Then I had to go back and check Alabama in these types of spots and what they've done. But just check this out. Last year, 65.5 is the total. 65.5. There has not been a game go over 65.5 for Alabama except for Ole Miss. That was the only game last year, landed on 69. Other than that, especially in these non-conference inferior teams, Mercer, 56. Fresno State, 51. Colorado State, 64. Let's go back to 2016. Western Kentucky, 48. Kent State, 48. Chattanooga, 34. Go back to 2015. Middle Tennessee State, 47. Louisiana Monroe, 34. Charleston Southern, 62. 2014. What's funny is not only have these non-conference inferior teams fallen short of the 65.5 mark, but either have conference games except for Ole Miss. They did it twice. They've gone over that mark. But now going all the way back to 2014, this is the closest one. Southern Miss, 64. FAU, 41. Western Carolina, 62. Not a single game has gone over 65.5. I don't expect Arkansas State to do it. However, don't be deceived. They have one of the top 25 offenses. They do have a very, very good offense, but they're going against the number 1 defense. I don't expect them to get more than 20. Matter of fact, I don't expect them to get over 10, but 20 is what I'll give them before we hit that mark of getting 65 points. Saban, early lead, run the football, run the clock, get away with no injuries, and hold the other team's offense to to their side, or the opponent's side of the 50, and that's a winning equation for Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. So I'm going to go under 65.5 in Bama, Arkansas State. Classic move there. Those are my 5 plays I like. If I were to chip in one for tonight's game, look at the under. It's an isolated game. Talk about perception versus reality. A lot of money coming in on that game. Give me the under 60 for TCU, SMU. Just in a Friday night isolated game, I'll go under with TCU's defense holding SMU's offense to under the 60. All right, there you go. 5 plays and a kicker. Any other picks that I may have coming in this weekend, check out my comments down below, and I'll post them Feel free to chime in any picks you have as well. Good luck, everyone. See you again soon.